Welcome to a very special episode of the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. Imagine what happens when a food-loving finance guy decides to solve one of the world's biggest dining problems.
The funny story is the day I actually got my CFA charter is the day I quit my job and decided to move back to India to start Dine Out.
India में culturally eating out is seen as bad, right? Because I mean, when you're growing up, you're like पापा मम्मी बोलते हैं यार एक ही बार खाना बाहर हफ्ते में. And if you compare it to the numbers in some other countries, it's mind-boggling.
Food was all about love. And at that point in time, it was all as a, maa ka khana. It was all.
Especially Gen Z today, it's all about experiences for them. They're not going to be sitting down and putting their money into mutual funds. That generation, I think, is gone.
Actually, I'll tell you one thing about dining out spends. It's probably one of the only categories where the frequency and the ticket size match. Honestly, I think as Indians, right, I think there's a certain I would say bragging right or achievement associated with the fact that we've saved money. See, at the end of it, right, we're all Indians, I think.
Dude, social media is all about bragging, right? Anyways, so that is the reason we are running this show.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know whether it's good or bad, but I have around 30 odd cards in my stable.
It is good.
Stable.
My wife actually sometimes asks me this, right? You're like, तू education fees भरने के लिए इतने excited क्यों होते हो? तो मैंने उसको बोला
Flashing bright, we're on the go. Tune in now, there's so much to know. Earning bits, travel dreams we sow. All aboard the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. Zero to hero in the blink of an eye. Fly first class, no need to be shy. Redemption sweet, touching the sky. Award seats booked, let's give it a try. Award seats booked, let the points flow. It's all aboard the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. Unlocking journeys wherever you go. The sky's the limit, feel the travel mojo.
Welcome to a very cool episode of the Great Indian Points and Miles Show entitled The $1 Billion Meal. What happens when a food-loving finance guy turns a dining problem into one of India's most successful and celebrated lifestyle exits? We're sitting down with the iconic Ankit Mehrotra, the former CEO and co-founder of Dine Out at the chic Mirage in Bangalore. We're here to one, relive the early hustle, 2. Decode the iconic HDFC and Dine Out collab. 3. Talk about hacks cutting down your restaurant bills. And 4. Uncover his credit card obsessions and the incredible amount of travel he's done on iconic cabins across the world. From his first redemption to his favorite dines across the country, including Delhi, Bombay, and Bangalore, and not just India, but around the world, this episode is a masterclass in building, eating, and flying in style. Oh, and wait till you hear next what's on his plate. Ankit is also a traveler extraordinaire. Ameya, Dhimant, and I, Adil, are super pumped to have him on the show today. With that, Ankit, big thanks, very grateful. Thank you for coming to the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Adil, Dhimant, and Ameya. It's a pleasure to be here. And look forward to a great conversation today.
Awesome. We always have, my co-founders, Dhimant and Ameya, who are always smiling. And we're really looking forward to your insights as well today.
Thank you so much, Adil.
With that, let's get started. Let's talk about segments in our episode. Our first segment this time around is called the Founding Feast. And Ankit, as part of the Founding Feast, the first question is for you. We'd love to know a little bit about where did you grow up? What was early life like? Where did the idea of Dine Out germinate? How did it all start?
Well, I think this is going to take me back a long way and make me probably realize how old we've become. But so I think born and brought up in Delhi, a South Delhi boy, went to school in Delhi Modern School, Vasant Vihar. And post finishing school, I moved to London to do actually my undergrad in 22, 23 years back. So I moved to London to do my undergrad. Surprisingly enough, I did my undergrad in engineers. So I was an engineer by profession, engineering and telecommunication. But I don't think so I've ever written a line of code after 2005 because it was a deal actually we did with my parents. So everyone in my family is an engineer. So being brought up and growing was always about the IITs and then the JEs and all those tests. So I gave those, but unfortunately couldn't get through, and that's why I decided to sort of do my undergrad outside. But the deal I had with my parents was कि आप बोलोगे तो I'll do my degree, whatever you say, but after that is up to me to what I need to do. So I did I graduated with undergrad degree in engineering, but after that I moved to investment banking right away. So I was lucky enough to sort of get on a not internship, but a graduate program with BNP Paribas, which is one of the best, which is French investment bank, one of the best in the world, etc. Back in the day. So that's where I cut my teeth in the world of finance. I was with them for 7 years, from I think 2005 to end of 2011, where I got my CFA charter as well. And eventually, the funny story is the day I actually got my CFA charter is the day I quit my job and decided to move back to India to start Dine Out. But yeah, that's the way it is. And so the reason I actually started Dine Out was living in London all those years, many years back. We always used to visit great restaurants. I was a foodie. I think by nature loved eating out and love food in general, and I think till this day, right, one of the things that I say that one of the best things that my mom ever did for me was actually give me a pressure cooker back in the day when I was at university, and that's how I learned how to cook. Because eating out at that point, so this is 2002 at university, was very expensive. Dates were very expensive, and I realized that after a couple of days that at this rate I'm going to spend three months of money in 3 weeks. So I started to learn how to cook. And that's actually the whole journey of my passion into food and restaurants was born, because I was, as I said, living in the UK at university. Every year I was living with a lot of international students from different countries. So I made a mission to learn to cook one cuisine every year. And that year I used to go travel to that country with those friends and, explore amazing restaurants. So for me, that journey in food was not always about great restaurant, like big fancy restaurants. It's about great family run, in the village sort of restaurants. And from there on, I sort of started to graduate slowly to bigger, better restaurants across the years. So I remember the early days, 2004, 5, 6, had some amazing meals in rustic towns in whether it's Italy, Spain, France, etc., Portugal. So just honestly, with great friends, I learned a lot about good food, and that evolved into my love for Dine Out. And eventually, was maybe, as I said, right, dining out a lot in different parts of the world, especially Europe. Been to some of the best restaurants at that point in time. So one of my favorite meals ever was at El Bulli in 2009, I think. One of those iconic chefs. Obviously, that restaurant is closed down now. Or with Heston, I've been to Heston Blumenthal many times back in those days.
Legend, what a guy.
So incredible, right?
Yeah.
Like the stuff that I've seen him do with food. And this is before, I think before the whole craze of social media, I think, took on. So this was at a time where people were actually doing stuff for the love of it, and not for the showcasing of it, because 2009, 10, we didn't have anything, right? There was no no Insta, no mobile internet had not taken off. So that was when I honestly think I've had some of the best meals during that time. And basically in London, having that, I realized I used to come back to India, every 3-4 months, and we never had a platform in India to sort of discover restaurants, let's say, for lack of a better word. And Zomato, I think, that just started off at that time in 2009, and we believe that there's a massive opportunity, and Indians were dining out, were slowly getting to explore food. And that's how, honestly, one day we decided, so I was in London, Sahil was in the US, my co-founders, one more co-founder, Vivek, was in the Merchant Navy, and Nikhil was in Delhi, and we decided to sort of, quit our jobs and move back to India, and as I say, the rest is history.
So Ankit, I have very interesting thing that you said, right? You said that you went to US, UK and all of these countries and saw the dining culture, right? I've seen a lot of these things coming up now recently. A lot of people speak about it, right? Ki India mein culturally eating out is seen as bad, right? Because I mean, when you're growing up, you're like Papa mummy bolte yaar ek hi baar khana bahar hafte mein. And if you compare it to the numbers in some other countries, it's mind-boggling. The size of the kitchen, for example, is one other indicator, right?
Yes.
The kitchens itself are so small. Like, what do you think in India is still stopping this industry to go 10x from where we are today, right? Like, what is the thing? Is it cultural? What is it?
No, I think it's basically to do with the relationship with food, honestly, right? I think in India, culturally, historically, go way back all in time, in the times of the Maharajas and everything. I think food was food was all about love. And at that point in time, it was all as a, maa ka khana. It was all, we wanted to, people wanted to, I think the whole experience about cooking for someone, whether it's a friend's, family, and eating at home was something that was all to do with love rather than a necessity. Like in the Western world, I think, honestly, it's now eating out is more like, I don't have time, or it's a shortcut, right? Eating out is a shortcut, is the shortest way of having good food rather than spending hours behind the kitchen cooking something. So, but having said that, honestly, from when we started Dine Out in 2011 to where we are now in 2025, I think we have seen this change massively, right? At one point in time when we were starting Dine Out, people used to ask us, "Are you guys crazy? You're building Dine Out where India में यार लोग महीने में एक बार या दो बार खाते हैं." As opposed to today where we've seen this trend happen over the last 14 years, where now people are honestly, especially in the larger cities, dining out at least three to four times a week. And as you said, right, it's all to do with space, everything. In India also now, kitchens are becoming smaller, houses are becoming smaller, people are moving away from from families into urban households, etc. So I think that's what is honestly driving the dining out culture. But having said that, I honestly think that the next 10 years in India is going to be a dining out revolution. How the last 10 years, according to me, 15 to 25, was all about the food delivery evolution, where Swiggy, Zomato have absolutely killed it, and they built. So today they control 95% of the food delivery space. I think the next 10 years, dining out is going to explode like insane, and we started to see that, especially post COVID, right? The early indicators are there. People have started to dine out a lot more because they're now realizing it's a fun social thing to do, meet a lot of friends, but also just people want to spend less time in, they want to enjoy life, right?
There's a monetary
Hey,
angle to all of this
yeah.
also, right? Like I definitely remember at one point of time, like bahar jaake khana was like celebrated, man. Like you're like, go get that soup and paneer butter masala and roti and no, but I mean, people didn't have money at the end. That's the raw truth.
I don't agree to that. See, I'll tell you what, it would have started with money, but today also I feel that at home, and again, we may be like among a certain type of people, but I think a large part of the people in population, I still feel, if you eat out a lot, people make you feel guilty. Like, "Arey, tu itna bahar kha raha hai." Like, it's still a thing, right? I genuinely have seen that happening. And by the way, Ankit, the thing that you spoke about, the going out and dining out market exploding, I think it's also true for experiences in general.
Absolutely.
Look at what's happened with Coldplay. Look at what's happening with. There is a random Barcelona versus Real Madrid ka.
Oh yeah, the Legends match. What?
People want to go. People.
I think it's just double clicking on what he said, right? The moment he said Hessen Blumenthal, two words come to your mind: molecular gastronomy.
Yeah.
Nobody does molecular gastronomy then. Like, literally, the guy pulls out something spectacular. It's cinema happening on your plate. And that is really like epic.
Absolutely.
And that's what people want to do, especially Gen Z today. It's all about experiences for them. They're not going to be sitting down and putting their money into mutual funds. That generation, I think, is gone. This is a very different generation who wants to live the big life and wants to live the big life today.
No, absolutely. So I think one more thing, honestly, right? What has changed from at least when we were at Dine Out and we saw this very closely is that honestly COVID changed a lot of things in terms of people living their life, right? All of a sudden people realize that life is fragile and people don't know when anything can happen. And so as a result of that, people started to go and wanted to start to experience a lot more and a lot better things. And I think even from a dine out perspective, when we were so obviously COVID, the business went to zero, but the bounce back after COVID was insane in terms of revenge consumption. We saw average ticket sizes, average bill sizes go up, average number of dining instances go up. So I think post that is when the last 3-4 years, we've seen this massive sort of increase. And in fact, again, going back to Dine Out, why? So in the middle of COVID 2020, August, we had acquired a business called Stepping Out, which was an events company, which today, which obviously post the acquisition of Swiggy, it came over and we were, I think, the early movers into this whole live event space. But we realized the potential then because of what we saw as early trends, but now it's catching up, right? And we talk about like just Coldplay. It's not Coldplay just alone, right? We were like, honestly, Diljit and his concert killed it in India and
That's the
globally,
biggest
right?
story I feel.
I mean, he went to Coachella. I mean,
Coachella, exactly.
like, that is
so-
epic.
So, and India is also getting at us, and also I think what's happening, India is definitely getting at a stage where we're getting more and more world-class, artists coming. But also Indians traveling abroad is a massive sort of a market, right? A couple of years back, I was at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and I couldn't believe how many Indians were there, right? So it's insane. And this I compare back to, let's say, 2010, 11. So I'm a big sports fanatic, and I used to go to a lot of, whether it's F1 or cricket or Wimbledon. All there was a time where you could spot hardly a few, Indians or Asians there, and now all of a sudden, like Silvertone back in the day was all completely white. Now it's all, a lot of Indians, etc., going across. So I think it's changing, and I think it's. Honestly, India is going to be a massive opportunity in the years to come.
Speaking of massive opportunity, let's go back in time.
Yes.
The massive opportunity you unlocked with HDFC. I think that is something that will be treasured, remembered, and celebrated for years to come. That was the HDFC Dine Out partnership. How did that come about? The geeks, the card geeks, would love to know how did that come about? Who called whom first? Did Dine Out call HDFC? Did HDFC call Dine Out? Because there were other ecosystems in play, like we were discussing before. Citi had a dining program, Amex had a dining program, HDFC did not. Did they come to you? Did you come to them? How did you all build this, and how did that sustain for so many years?
I think that's a great question, and I think sometimes some partnerships are just meant to be, and this was one of them. So the story, the way it goes is, so me being a credit card sort of a geek, so I've always been into credit cards and always across, and from my time in London, I used to have a massive, like multiple credit cards where I used to save money on dining out. So Amex globally has a great dining out program, right? Citibank globally had a great program. And in India, when we go back all those ways, 2015, 16, when we were, it had to do with the evolution of mobile internet in India, and when people were able to start discovering restaurants on their phones and make bookings and payments, etc. So 2016, 17, we realized that actually the credit card market itself is very nascent. There are, as you mentioned, a couple of programs, but dining out itself was also taking off, and a lot of the industry, a lot of the existing partnerships that used to happen were very old school in nature, where banks used to have tent cards at some tables in restaurants, or their dining programs were in some clunky websites, which hard to access, and I think 90% of the customer base did not know about these things. And that's how we decided that let's build something which truly will be India first game changer opportunity. And that's how, when we looked at and what is happening out there, so while Citibank at that point in time had their dining program, and they used to have their dining festivals, etc.
Dining delight is what they used to call it.
Call it. And then Amex, obviously, because the global presence had their program, we realized that from an aspiration perspective, some of the Indian banks, they had nothing, and they wanted to do something. So we spoke to HDFC, we spoke to SBI, we spoke to ICICI, the three largest guys at those point in time. This is 16, 17, if I'm not mistaken. And at that point in time, all of a sudden we realized that, the Indian consumer base with these banks is huge, and they're all warming up to this whole idea of, living life and experiences. And we decided, I think we had a great meeting of minds, as I said, with HDFC. They were very supportive of what they wanted to do, like transfer all of their or capture a large part of the dining out spend. Because I'll tell you one thing about dining out spends, when we looked at the industry, why what is happening is, so it's probably one of the only categories where the frequency and the ticket size match. In terms of that, the person who's going out is actually spending, 3,000 to 4,000 rupees every time, and is going out 5 to 6 times. So people end up spending roughly 20,000 rupees a month. And if over the years, holidays, flights, shopping, etc. Big ticket items happen once or twice a year. Here we're talking about a monthly spend which had not been unlocked from a credit card base perspective. People are not. So that's how we decided to sort of figure out this partnership with HDFC. And I think honestly, it was legendary. Like I don't want to sort of brag about but honestly, I think we changed the way that credit card and dining out were associated in India. For the first 2 years, it was irrespective of whatever discount that you get on dine out, it was a flat 15% off up to 1,000 rupees.
Exactly.
Every single obviously on.
And there was no cap.
No cap.
There was no cap.
And I think that just blew everyone in the industry away. And why I think that partnership became so big was because it coincided with the launch of Dine Out's annual restaurant festival called the Great Indian Restaurant.
Oh, GIRF, man, it was insane.
So I think, as I said, right, 2017-18 was a revolutionary time period for us where we changed dining out for India massively, because here all of a sudden, for the first time ever, we launched a festival for foodies across the country where you could save a flat 50% off, uncapped, every single time you went out.
I'll tell you something interesting. That particular year, 18 or 19, one of these years, I have never seen ever in all these 15 years of being in Bangalore, Le Cirque, which is the only French restaurant in Bangalore, give a 50% discount.
Yeah.
It happened that 1 year on Dine Out, you got the 50% off and you got the 15%. I walked in with swagger and ate with applause.
Yes.
And I was like, boss, I'm going to eat my heart out today. I don't care.
No,
And thanks to Dine Out, it was unbelievable.
I'll tell you one very interesting thing here, right? So maybe from the other side, while Ankit listens to hundreds of customers, he wouldn't have realized one thing. In this entire, let's say there are 100 customers, right? There's this one customer every 100 customers who is crazy passionate about food.
Yeah.
He wants to stand out, right? This card or this offer or this offering gave that opportunity for that one person to stand out in front of the other 100 people. Like, for example, I could now go and say, okay, I have a passion for food. I can now go to the best restaurant, experience it. I mean, this was the early -2 phase of what Instagram influencers are doing today. Aaj jaake video खींचते हैं. But we were the OGs, right? We went, we experienced it. Obviously, we had nowhere to show it. But among that circle of 100 people, you give that one person the bragging right of saying, okay, I am following my passion.
It's the other little things in life also, right? Like, you're going out with your family. Your dad is like, I'm taking care of it. I'm like, Dad, chill. And he's like, what is it? I'm like, I'm going to get $1,000 off. And he's like, it's not, don't give me this nonsense.
And if you're a young person just started to work, this impacts even more. Like, you go with a bunch of friends and I'm like, tera bhai take care karega. You'll get 15%.
That's a bit weird, because that was one of our campaigns in our early days, because honestly, it works like that, right? So I think two things happened because of this, because of GIRF, obviously, and the HDFC partnership. So first, I'll tell you some basic nuance of how the Indian consumer was, right? So today, if you think about your journey also back in the day, like 2015, so we Indians obviously are very risk averse in everything typically, right? So and that we saw in where we go in terms of dining out as well, because we don't want to have a bad experience. And that means that within our circle of influence, we have these 7 to 10 restaurants where we always end up going for comfort food every time. And because obviously, as I said, dining out is still, relatively expensive activity, right? If I'm going even the family of 4 to a nice place, I'll end up easily spending 5,000-6,000 rupees, right? So I don't want to go spend 6,000 rupees and I could at the back of my mind think that, oh shit, I've had a bad experience. So people were very risk averse when it comes to trying new restaurants. What GIRF did and why it changed the game, not just for dine out but for everyone, for restaurateurs overall, was that all of a sudden people were able to try out newer restaurants at half the price, and if they had a bad experience, not feel that bad about it, because the walk away from that was, koi nahi, I say 50%, right? So that even that turned into positive of me being able to say 50%. So one of the biggest things that came out of GIRF was all of a sudden cross-pollination of people, where they were going to newer restaurants, discovering newer restaurants at a discount, loving it, and continue to visit it forever. So we were able to expand our restaurant's consumer base massively and open it up to a completely new base.
But if you look at from a restaurant side, right? एक तो consumer के लिए नया opportunity है to try new things. Restaurant के side पे भी I am getting a shot of starting something new and not being dependent on only real estate and then trying to create my own demand. It's a easy GTM, right? Because you know, if I come to dine out and say, okay, I'm going to exclusively launch this restaurant on your platform, it's a great opportunity to stand out, right? And,
Absolutely.
It is like democratization of
Yeah.
this side of things. That's
absolutely.
right.
It's all of a sudden changed the game for the smaller restaurants. Typically, the way it used to happen was the bigger, larger restaurants had money in the pocket. They could do advertisement, etc. And became, and obviously, some of the standalones restaurants were great, but did not have enough budget. A mom and pop restaurant, they could not advertise. Now, all of a sudden, having a platform like Dine Out was able to democratize the opportunity in front of their consumers and attract a lot of people. So I think that happened, and I think that, as I said, GRF 50%, and one of the best things, honestly, which I feel really proud about with Dine Out is that if you look at any other consumer product in India over the last 15 years, which offers discounts to its users, all of them say, they might, that always the discount is capped or some TNC. We were the only platform where if you spend 20,000 and you had a 20% discount, you would say 4,000. If you spend 1 lakh rupee, you would say 20,000.
Wow.
So we've had instances where people have, spent 2, 3, 4 lakh rupees and saved, GRF saved 50% on that and just gone ballistic. So, every year we used to have this consumer contest internally where who's going to be the maximum save. And we had people who've saved 5, 6 lakh rupees on dining.
I remember that.
So, it's about this dining revolution you guys created, because suddenly everybody was, sharing screenshots on
Yes.
Dine Out saying that
मैंने इतना
this
पैसा
is my
बचाया.
bill,
Yeah.
this is how much I paid.
Oh, but
And
they made it easy,
just
no?
kind of went viral because first you could pay through the app,
Yeah.
which was unbelievable. But the second thing is they're also saying, boss, ये असल bill का picture है और ये देखो मैंने कितना भरा है. And that I think took it to
And
the...
honestly, I think as Indians, right, I think there's a certain I would say bragging right or achievement associated with the fact that we've saved money. See, at the end of it, right, we're all
Really?
Indians, right? I think
Dude, social
Kaisa-
media is all about bragging, right?
Brag-
Anyways.
So that is the reason we are running this show.
yeah, absolutely.
Like we say, Desi is a vibe.
By the,
We are part of that vibe.
by the way, one thing about our show, which we started this show as a travel and a miles and a credit card channel. But a lot of people, including some of our followers, have christened our show as Yum Yum Show.
Yeah.
We talk so much about food.
No, I think food is at the essence of us being Indians. Let's say that's that's something that I have realized over my last 22 years of living outside India, in India, doing Dine Out, that food is essential to us. We all love food, and we all love our Indian bellies. And all of those things cannot be avoided. So it's better to own up to it. And
Adil, if you remember, in one of the other episodes, we spoke about how fashion is a category and shopping is a category which credit cards and banks love. This is another category which banks love. They don't, because see, this is again a category where the margin is very high, right? If you are able to, banks have money to pump in. The brand has the money to pump in. Everybody has money to pump. If you are able to create the right partnerships and people take those initiatives, you can actually create a win-win-win for everybody.
no, absolutely. And see, honestly, I think the other thing also that we saw is and I still believe that India, when I look at the overall global landscape, India is credit card journeys in India is in an infancy. I think we have a long way to go. As I say, like 50, 60 million credit card holders in India and a population of whatever it is. Right? So there's a long way to go when we compare ourselves to, Western worlds or China or whatever it is. So I think one of the things that credit card guys have realized, and what we realized when after our partnership with HDFC, which by the way, even though I'm no longer part of Dine Out, still continues. So it's been 8 years in the exclusive, 8 years in the journey, is that loyalty of being able to use a credit card actually somewhere on the back of your mind actually increases spend in other categories. So people, because of what we saw is that all of a sudden guys who are using HDFC on Dine Out, 2-3 times a month, the HDFC told us that the spends on other categories is also going up because of the pure मैं use कर रहा हूँ, so I might use it, right, instead of for switching, because otherwise people used to switch. I have 2-3 cards, I'll use this, that. But then because I was hooked on to using one card for dining, then the banks were able to see increase in other category spending.
Okay, let's come to our next segment. Our next segment is called the Plastic Fanatic.
Yeah.
यहाँ पे I think the viewers will get even more interested in the Ankit persona, where they want to know what was your first credit card, and along with that, what was your first redemption?
So I think I would want to say that I got into this credit card journey accidentally back in 2003 when I was at university, and one of the high street banks had so I had a bank. I think I had a bank account with Lloyd's, and there was a cab. They used to have Barclays, I think it was, where they wanted us to switch over, and they were offering this credit card which had some I don't remember which type they had, but they had a great program, and that's how I was like, yeah, chalo, I'm spending money as well, let me switch over. So this is 2003. But eventually, I think over the years, my journey has evolved, and I think that my big breakthrough moment personally came in 2006 or 2005 when I joined BNP Paribas, and all of a sudden I was in 2005 I was 20 years old. So I realized that at 20 I have a great job, and for the first time ever in my life I had money to spend. And that's when I started, and this is again when we're talking about that going to traveling to different countries, sporting events, etc., and doing great dining experiences. I realized I'm spending a lot of money, and at that time I just signed up for a new credit card. It was the Miles and More, Lufthansa Miles and More.
Lufthansa Miles and More,
But
yeah.
this was 2005 we're talking about, so it was a very complete.
Back in the day.
Which bank was this?
This was, if I'm not mistaken, no, I think Lufthansa Miles and More credit card was associated with Lloyd's Bank.
India with Axis, right?
India mein is Axis. But at that point in time, it was with Lloyd's. Yeah, I remember. So I had my the interesting story is my first salary. So Lloyd's was my bank, and my first salary hit my account, and for that point in time, being an investment banker, starting off, I was on a very decent sort of a salary, and when that hit, all of a sudden, like, I started getting calls from my bank manager said, he would have realized that now all of a sudden from being a pauper, garib student, to I've become like employed and probably doing something good and a good job. So he called and upgrade accounts and all that, and I think they handed me that card.
Got it.
And that's when I started to spend money, and I realized, and honestly, I think credit card rewards, if you think about it today, we talk about 4 or 5%, and then with their which is standard, and then with we all know the access story with benefits and all, it goes all the way. But I think back in the day it used to be really amazing. So if I'm not mistaken, for every pound that I spent, they used to give me like 6 or 7 Lufthansa miles and more, and that's how that story grew, and I started spending a lot more. I started redeeming, and I didn't realize how powerful that is until and unless. So 2005 se leke, so at one point in time I was a credit card loyalist, in the sense I had that one card, and I used to spend, and I racked up a lot of spend over it for 7-8 years. But I realized the power of it in 2013 after I got married, because I all of a sudden had to plan for my honeymoon, and for the first time ever, I realized, oh shit, up to I have to spend for 2 people. So all of a sudden, my spendings are doubled. So I have to think about what I'm doing. And at this 2013, I just quit my job and moved back to India to start Dine Out. So I was technically unemployed, living off my savings, etc. And I had to do a honeymoon. And we decided that I'll do a fancy 1 month long Europe break. So with my wife, and at that point, I realized all of a sudden that I'm going to end up spending a lot of money. So my overall trip budget, there was no budget, but the itinerary, after we booked it and everything and got a quote from a couple of travel agents and did all that research and all, in 2013 came to be around 8-9 lakhs. And I was like, ये तो मैं कर ही नहीं सकता, because I've obviously just quit my job and I'm unemployed, started Dine Out. So it's very difficult for me to afford it. But now, how can you go back? Because I've committed to my wife कि
इज्जत का सवाल है अब तो,
इज्जत का सवाल है तो
भाई को जाना ही पड़ेगा.
bragging right होता है, बोलते हैं अच्छा I'm doing a 1 month honeymoon, etc. Right, all of those things. So that is when somehow I've not used now this Miles and More card for the last 1.5 years since I moved back to India. But यार कुछ तो था, and that's when I realized, I just logged in my account and I realized I had like something like 500,000 miles or something accumulated over the last 7 years of spending. And that, I think, honestly was a true game changer for me, because I was able to plan a lot of my flights, my hotels, everything, so that I end up probably
your destination.
So we did an extensive Europe trip, starting off in London. So the countries that we covered were London, France, Italy, Spain, Malta, back and forth. So we had made London our base, and we did multiple 2 to 3 trips across, I think, overall it was a 30-day thing, and we covered across. I think we covered 12 cities or 13 cities like that, and we were doing back and forth. So it wasn't as a one trip. London was the base, so. Travel to 2-3 countries, come back to London for a couple of days, then go different. So that, I think, honestly, I think I say overall in that trip probably was out of pocket by only 50,000 or something, or maybe 1 lakh. I'm not able to remember that. But that is honestly when I realized that the credit card game can be really interesting. And then eventually with Dine Out, after the whole HDFC thing, we started to realize that this is interesting. And then I think over the years, my passion actually was always trying to figure out as a consumer where's the best, to be able to give the consumer the best possible saving, and that's what we always try to dine on. And obviously I'm the consumer for multiple other products, so that's when I started to look at myself as a consumer and realize, yeah, let's see what is out there and how do we maximize our or my lifestyle. And that's how the whole personally credit card journey has been for me. And now, like, I don't know whether it's good or bad, but I have around 30 odd cards in my stable. And
I have two questions for you.
Yeah.
I have two questions for you. One is very short question. Do you still have cashback cards, or all your cards are?
No cashback.
Okay, perfect.
No cash.
Perfect. Second.
So, Dhiman, Maslow's theory of motivation, right? इधर food and shelter, उसके ऊपर रोटी कपड़ा मकान. Then you have
If you would have said yes, I would have been shocked. I knew the answer.
अभी हम self actualization पे, right? Now you're business class, first class, suite stays, all inclusive. That is where we are.
I honestly think for me, where the game changed, or where I actually became a lot more engrossed is, as I said, right, being single to married, all of a sudden you have to spend.
उसके बाद is another
Exactly.
thing.
So for me, I had my first daughter in 2019. And all of a sudden I realized I'm spending for 3 now, and then second daughter, and all of a sudden I'm spending for 4. Yeah. And the biggest problem in that is obviously flights, but hotels now all of a sudden have to, a single room is not going to cut it. So we need to have either a large 2 rooms or suite.
Very interesting point on what Ankit just said, right? One thing which has changed for me a lot, right? My wife actually sometimes asks me this, right? You're like, "Tu एजुकेशन फीस भरने के लिए इतने एक्साइटेड क्यों होते हो?" तो मैंने उसको बोला कि जब तुमको भरना है, एंड मोस्ट ऑफ द अदर पीपल इन द ग्रुप आर क्राइंग, व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे डिस्कशन चल रहा होता है सब पेरेंट्स का कि ओ इन्फ्लेशन 10% बढ़ गया. आई एम थिंकिंग 10% बढ़ गया मतलब 14% और 10% मुझे एक्स्ट्रा माइल्स मिलेगा मेरे मैग्नेट कार्ड पे. लाइक यू फील गुड अबाउट समथिंग दैट एनीवेज यू कांट. एग्जैक्टली. एंड यू कांट डू एनीथिंग अबाउट इट. व्हाई क्रिप अबाउट इट? बी हैप्पी अबाउट इट. द सेकंड क्वेश्चन आई हैव फॉर यू. Are you in Team Amaya or are you in Team Dhiman? So Team Amaya is you optimize for every damn spend, which means अगर 100 रुपया है तो Atlas कार्ड निकालना है, 200 रुपया है तो X कार्ड निकालना है, or you go ahead and say कि I'll spend 3 cards this month and I'll use only these cards. Who are you? Like
No, so I think I'm a mix. I mix of both, in the sense that I don't do in-depth like spend yahan. So what I do is category wise spend. Like for example, obviously we know today that Atlas is the best for travel. So all my travel spends are on that, except when I know that I've this month I spent 3-4 lakh 5 lakhs on Magnus Burgundian. अब मुझे उधर 17.5% मिलेगा. So then
you take the month, right? That's fine, right? It's not the month.
So
sorry.
So I think it's a mix of both. But yes, as I said, I also make sure that wherever the bare minimum, like with the Amex, so I have flat travel, I'm able to spend that.
So this was my next question.
Yeah.
So let's break down your credit
portfolio.
card stack, most important cards. और इसमें flex वाले कौन से हैं और non
Yeah,
flex
I
वाले
don't know
कौन से?
आज flex क्या
नहीं, आप आपके हिसाब से बताओ ना.
Flex.
The audience will judge.
So one of my all-time favorite international cards, which I have today, is the Amex Marriott Bonvoy. Based in
अभी भी है.
वो नया कार्ड है ना,
वो US one.
UK वाला, मेरे पास UK में है. So that's an amazing card that I have, which
अर्निंग रेशियो बताओ उसका, like help me understand.
उसका earning ratio, I think with bonuses and everything, comes up to be around 10-12% for at the highest level. But I pay also. So I am a firm believer कि यार मतलब I don't have a problem paying fees for credit card as long as I'm able to maximize it. तो उसका amazing है. Indian cards में I think I have obviously the usual stable. So the Magnus Burgundy and the Atlas Travel and the Infinias. I think one of the most underrated cards in India from a lifestyle perspective is still the HSBC Premier. So I actually had a HSBC Premier for the last, I was from UK, 15, 16 years. I had because I had a HSBC Premier relationship in the UK, and us time mera card. Then that point in time was an amazing global card for rewards and privilege, and I think they were the first ones to have a true concierge. So that is great. So yeah, I think so this is where I do, but I've tried everything. So
what
for
about
example,
India? Like, what are your favorite Indian cards?
So I just mentioned, right? Ye hai. So I think in order would be, let's say, so not order, like Infinia obviously is the OG according to me. This is obviously to do with the
king of all cards.
King of dine out HDFC ka relationship. But usse pehle bhi I think Infinia honestly with the Smart Buy actually they taught everyone else how to play that game, and today I think it's still all said and done. Smart Buy is Smart Buy. Axis has just launched their iShop thing, but portal Axis, ICICI launched the iShop, and then Axis obviously has their gift platform.
HDFC made affiliates cool.
Cool, absolutely.
With Smart Buy, technically affiliate है और कुछ नहीं है.
And honestly, in my mind, it has been so. At one point in time, I remember Infinia being where it was uncapped. So आप कितना भी spend करो, आपको 15 and 60 like 5x मिल रहा है, वापस तो मिल रहा है. But I think today also with all the limitations going on, it is a no-brainer कि यार मुझे पता है कि अगर मैं इतना spend करूँगा, मेरा इतना points आएगा.
The king of cards minus one period when Diners 10x.
Oh yeah.
So I remember very well. उस time पे Diners 10x guys were saying मुझे नहीं चाहिए.
I was one of those people. I hesitated to get it at one point of time.
And then we suddenly realized, okay, my first Diners to Infinia moment happened when I went to Dubai. The Diners was rejected everywhere.
Correct.
I said, भाई बेइज्जती हो गई family के सामने. I went to the Apple store and I had to buy the Apple iPhone without any rewards with a card which was not good.
आज भी दुखता है ना.
Absolutely.
I actually held on until the point in which they made the vouchers ka ratio different for Diners and Infinity. That's when I
Otherwise,
said,
I agree.
So, but after that, I think all said and done, obviously Magnus at one point in time had killed it.
Yeah.
Right, last 2 years until they started devaluation and all.
Yeah.
So Magnus पे तो बहुत ही spend point. In fact, I remember a period in time where I used to pay the अपने घर पे ड्राइवर सर्वेंट का स्टाफ भी सैलरीज भी यूजिंग सम प्लेटफॉर्म में क्रेडिट कार्ड. सो उस टाइम का बिकॉज सी माय पॉइंट इज
अगर हो सकता है तो क्यों नहीं.
1 लाख करना है बस 1 लाख
हो सकता है.
स्पेंड करना ही है, तो अगर वो कुछ बेनिफिट कुछ मिल जाए वो स्पेंड करके तो बेटर ही है. So that is how it was, and honestly, again from a consumer perspective and the dine out lens, I was always exploring what is out there for the consumer, right? So yeah, Magnus Burgundy still continues to be there. I have
Magnus Burgundy.
HSBC Premier. I have the Magnus Private as well. Magnus Reserve at one point in time was good.
Magnus
Reserve.
Okay, then
Axis. Oh, sorry. So I'm Axis Reserve. I had that at one point in time, but that obviously got devalued massively. So I still hold on to the Axis Private.
Burgundy Private.
Burgundy Private. So that's a great card still in the stable for especially for
the black,
especially for international. It's international travel. Exactly. It's really good. HSBC Premier continues to be.
And HSBC Premier, I'm assuming, is a favorite card because it had no exclusions till a certain point of time. Absolutely. For everything.
But now they've started the
devaluation process. Yes. They started the devaluation.
I think rounding out, I think he said all the cool cards, right? I mean,
give us some underrated cards, like things that
the
people
flex
will
cards that he mentioned were, I think, Infinia, Burgundy
I don't know what
Private.
flex है. मैंने तो flex नहीं बचा.
Infinia Flex है क्योंकि अभी भी HDFC बहुत लोग को Infinia नहीं दे रही है. इसलिए वो Flex बचा है.
Yeah, but still, if you think about like optimizing for gift vouchers, right? Hands down HDFC wins. Of course, now iShop has come in, but iShop में भी transfer partners नहीं है. Transfer partners अभी भी HDFC में हैं.
आज भी Twitter देखोगे यार, any public forum, the number of people who are bragging Infinia versus the number of people who are trying to get Infinia. But the number of people trying to get Infinia is still higher.
Point वो नहीं है, आपके पास Infinia, आप क्या उसको leverage कर रहे हो to buy enough gift vouchers, use it in your daily life. That is when, I mean, that's why I call it still the OG.
No. If let's say talk about that, I think the best card, if people know how it can be maximized, is still the Amex, the Plat.
Like Plat charge or Plat travel?
Plat charge. उसके ऊपर if you are over
So इसमें डबल क्लिक करते हैं, बताओ
यार. So again, as I said, right, पैसा देने में प्रॉब्लम नहीं है.
बिल्कुल.
So Abhi to obviously they've increased the price, but when it was I think 60,000 plus
69,000.
60 हाँ
Pehले,
जो भी-
yeah,
60
correct.
right, जो भी पड़ता था. So I remember a time. So I had it for a year in between because the upfront fees you got equivalent number of points or some Taj or something. So I know that I recovered nearly 90% of that money, but from a maximization perspective, right? I think that card, especially if you travel a lot, up kam ho gaya, but Air India pay, it used to give an insane amount of 25. You used to get 25% points back, and I think that was still the highest in Air India, except I would say the SBI Air India has the top card, which I had. So anyway, so that was amazing for luxury shopping in India.
Oh, insane.
Like I
Insane.
remember getting back
20x and
20x, which worked out with 50%.
Yeah.
So, special occasions, birthdays, annual, I remember maximizing that card to the core.
One interesting thing here, you hold the Amex India cards and you also hold Amex US cards. Like do you have UK. Like, is there a better ratio there? Does it help you kind of optimize the miles and move my points from here to there? Like,
No. So, see, points movement also, I have Amex Bonvoy, right? So that is a very Marriott
That goes directly to Bonvoy.
That's a amazing card for Marriott only, which I still continue, and I believe like loyalty somewhere is really important. So I'm a Bonvoy Titanium. So for me, with the amount of travel that I do in India and across the globe, I think that one loyalty. So I swear by Marriott always, and then I'm IHG also bold. So between these two, I try to spend sort of most of my nights. Accor, while great, I always somehow rather if I have to choose, I'll choose a Marriott. So from that perspective, that card serves me really well. But coming into India at one point in time, I think if you know how to maximize, I think Amex for that 1 year, plat charge for that 1 year is amazing. Like you can really do wonders with it.
problem sir वही है 13 months से क्या
वही तो वो 12 महीने यूज करके मैंने फिर रिन्यू नहीं करा. वही है प्रॉब्लम.
I know very few people like Adil, for example, very few people who has renewed the card for more than 3 years. And
I've had it
उसका
since
reason
2016.
मुझे बाद में मालूम पड़ा वैसे. Like, बताओ.
So I had the card in 2016. 2016 they came up with this offer, which was a very limited time offer, where they said you can have the card for 35k plus taxes. So you're
And every year that is
Exactly. That was the thing.
So yeah,
That's
my yearly expense was 41k, but I would get benefits above and beyond. और तभी देखो अभी you have Accor Step, Accor Hera, now you have Fora. तब कुछ नहीं था, तभी FHR था.
Absolutely.
और FHR, imagine you're booking a 10,000 rupee hotel and you're getting $100 credit.
OG flex.
Like crazy flex, right? मतलब Ankit, we'll summarize your card stack if we can use that word. So you said the king of all cards, Infinia. You have the Burgundy Private. You've got the Magnus. You still like the American Express Plat Charge.
Atlas.
I think and Atlas. So those I think
HSBC Premier.
HSBC Premier. So those are your flex cards.
No, I think one card which honestly was, I think you asked Amaya, which is the underrated card. I think the underrated card honestly is the now with everything dead out there in terms of airlines, etc. Because obviously at one point in time the Vistara Infinite was the OG, right? Like in my family, at one point we had like 7 Vistara. Like I didn't know what to do with all the tickets that we had. Like I used to go on flight just to ticket expire ho rahi hai, kahin chalte hai. That's how it was, because at one point in time they killed it, right? But now I think the one underrated card in the current ecosystem is the SBI Air India Platinum.
If there is one guy other than you who's a fierce proponent of the SBI Air India card, it is Amaya. And all our viewers now tag him online everywhere as soon as they hear SBI Air India. But please.
तुमने दिवाली क्यों किया इसका?
अभी उन्होंने डिवैल्यू वो करे ना 30x हटा दिया है.
So I saw a comment on Twitter, or YouTube, I don't remember. He said कि 35 miles मिलता है. That guy is saying 30 मिलता है, क्योंकि इसने milestone ऐड कर दिया साथ में.
अरे milestone का 5 है man. You have to count that.
Yeah. No, absolutely you have to count the milestone. Milestone के बिना क्या फायदा?
Cool. I think with that we'll round off the cards discussion. Let's get into a very interesting segment, which I think will be the most fun segment. Let's talk about flight redemptions. So Ankit, batao, which have been your favorite, let's say 1 or 2 top most loved frequent flyer programs? Why? And then which are your most cherished flight experience?
See, I think honestly, if you ask me, the best frequent flyer ever for me was the Jet Airways.
Oh yeah, for sure. Agreed.
And
Hands down.
I was a titanium there, top tier. It had
प्लेटिनम के ऊपर क्लियर था क्या?
platinum, top था titanium.
I was afraid that
Platinum, हाँ, so फिर platinum, sorry.
I thought कि मैंने clear नहीं किया.
So whatever the platinum.
Maybe Naresh's friends had a special tire that we don't know about.
And that is actually a very interesting story because at Dine Out, we actually had a deep partnership with Jet Privilege, where we had Dine Out was integrated into Jet Privilege, where people could earn miles on every time you dined out. If you paid through the at that point in time, Intermiles app ke through, so we had a deep integration. So that's how we got into this deep partnership with them. And I realized, so honestly, there was no other frequent flyer program better than that in terms of recognition, in terms of rewards. They had great redemptions across the.
Sir, the best part, and again we spoke about it in one of the podcasts, is when the Etihad partnership happened.
Oh yes. So
Crazy. Go ahead, sorry.
So as a platinum member, you got the same status on Etihad.
Exactly.
I think I didn't realize how powerful that is until unless I remember this is 2018-19 and I was going to Kenya. And all of a sudden, I think I was flying. I wasn't flying business. I think I was flying either. I think it was economy or 2018, and I was all of a sudden at the counter I got upgraded because of that platinum status, and it was the first time ever where I think it was so it was Delhi to Abu Dhabi, and then Abu Dhabi to Nairobi. Kenya, I think. Nairobi. Nairobi. Correct. Nairobi. No, I was just trying to think whether I went to Nairobi or somewhere, but yeah. And I was upgraded because of platinum status to the first class at that.
First class.
Wow. Wow. No, Etihad first class from that time was like insane. Man. They are the first OG.
Yeah.
Delhi से Abu Dhabi उनका normal था, business class था, and Abu Dhabi से Nairobi मेरा I think it was 6-7 hours flight or whatever, and I was upgraded.
When was this?
This
What
was
year?
2017 or 18 or something like that.
Nice.
Prime jet. Prime jet. Yeah.
I was blown away. Like it was insane. Like the amount of space that plane, that seat had. That plane had the toilet itself was bigger than like 6 economy classes. So it was insane. And that is when I realized that अच्छा ऐसे भी हो सकता है अगर if you are able to manage your loyalty across airlines. So obviously. With that, obviously Jet Airways going down, the Vistara thing came up. So I was उनका भी I think platinum था gold के ऊपर ना
Platinum, yeah.
gold
you would get
with that card, and then I used to travel a lot, so I used to get that. I got that platinum, so it was great. Great, I think. So I've been lucky enough now to maintain statuses with airlines. Obviously, I had a couple of babies. I had 2 babies in the last 5 years, COVID and also. एक दो जगह downgrade भी हुआ, but I still think having loyalty with one airline and then trying to
Is underrated.
is underrated massively. Right? I would honestly, I've taken spend decisions where I've flown whether an airline whether it's more expensive than someone else to make sure that I'm.
Sir, I'll tell you a few things on this. Right, a very good point that you made. Like, I was extremely loyal to Jet. I was extremely loyal to Kingfisher, and I used to be in a sales role.
Yeah.
So I used to travel a lot. Like three days a week, I used to travel. Right. And what I realized is it's extremely powerful. But what I also realized is that loyalty से ज़्यादा और एक चीज़ भी important है, which is the fact that you get habituated to any good thing that the airline does for you. For example, we can't put into words the pain that we all are going through right now because of the Vistara merger, because Vistara set a new standard.
Absolutely.
And I keep telling Adil his favorite airline is SQ, Singapore. I think their being shareholders in Vistara is very underrated.
Very underrated.
That's the reason why from day one, Vistara has been an amazing airline.
No, but for someone like me who's like, extremely kitna paisa lagta hai types person, I would not have pictured myself being the person who's saying ki boss, priority boarding is important.
Oh, absolutely.
But
Extremely.
It makes a big difference.
See, I think priority boarding is one thing, but what honestly doesn't matter, like, so it's like business, but if you let's say fly economy or even premium economy in certain airlines, right? What pinches is कि आपको seat के पैसे देने हैं.
We spoke about it.
And it is happening very frequently, right? Whether it's, and these days it's a big, like, whether it's a BA, whether it's a Virgin, whoever it is, when you fly internationally, you're paying, on premium economy, you're spending 1.2, 1.3 lakhs for a London ticket, and वो आपसे £30 extra, £40.
Absolutely hatred for any airline. I don't want to name any airline who charges me for a center seat. And there are airlines.
Absolutely.
I hate it. So, like,
There is a certain airline that we talked about last time.
I don't want to sit in the middle, first of all, and you're asking me to pay money for that.
No, absolutely.
It's not happening.
I did this yesterday. Like, I'm like, Ish, I have no options. I have to fly to an airport where no other airline takes you. And
So having said that, coming, so OG was obviously jet, but now when I'm flying, right, honestly, I think European airlines have become
Okay.
like, and I've seen them I maintain loyalty with Virgin right now, and Virgin still is better, but like on some of the stuff that's happening around Lufthansa, honestly, I don't like the service. BA is absolutely the worst.
I've had that experience. BA spoken about BA
Like, nobody likes BA. I mean, it's like,
I have
Never been in an airline where I was sick, I had 102 temperature. Those guys refused to give me a hot glass of water. And I will never ever forget. And this is ulta of loyalty. I'm never ever going to fly that flight ever again. I don't care. I'll cancel my plans, but I'm not going to fly.
No, that's absolutely great.
So, European carriers, big
I don't know,
no-no.
big no-no.
Who are your top
I
2
think-
or 3 favorites?
I think the Middle Eastern ones
Oh, for sure.
are killing. So
So, hang on.
I love Qatar more than honestly Emirates as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And Qatar, like I've had one Q Suite experience.
Yeah.
And it is like I think that's what like the shakes and all like that.
Yeah, it's like privacy. It's your own
That's
private
insane.
suite.
Like
yeah.
But आपने एक चीज और देखा होगा. Like we did an episode specifically on Qatar, by the way. Very interesting episode. I think it's not only about the Q Suite. It's also about
the journey starting when they take you to that lounge.
Absolutely.
I will, disagree with you on this. Your airport experience matters. I'll tell you the recent one.
Yeah, airport.
La Première one, the Air France one that is launched.
Oh.
Man, their seats are shit. First class ke liye,
That's
people are saying that.
exactly what I'm saying. Absolutely. The lounge of Qatar, for example, and Qatar in Doha.
Is insane. Like you see, this was people talk about the Virgin Terminal 5 Virgin upper class का जो lounge है, that was for a long time supposed to be the one of the best, but now this Doha has absolutely. I
Yeah,
think
the Al
Qatar-
Safa lounge is really good. If you fly first, the Al Morjun is like another level altogether.
Both things well, right? Like Qatar has got a great hard product. Like looking, I don't know if you've seen the El Premier videos and the La Premier, not El Premier, but the Air France ones, I mean, you're like, man, is this the best first class program? No, it is not.
But they're restricted that also. You can't book it if you're not about a.
So yeah, you need to be.
You have to be a platinum member. of
But
that
that's the thing,
particular-
right? Like he's rightly saying, hospitality अगर experience करनी है, grandiose अगर experience करना है,
that's a little-
Middle Eastern है.
Indian thing also, right? We expect people to be hospitable. Like if European people are going to turn close to you, then I'm like,
We did a comparison with Qatar and Singapore that day, and we discussed that if you are a guy who likes chic business side, then you choose Singapore. But if you like palatial stuff,
then you
go
choose
with Qatar.
So, but Qatar का यार मेरे को genuinely as a consumer एक ही problem लगता है. So obviously I will never pay that amount of money, right, to fly. So I always so it's become a very expensive program, especially with the Avios and all. Very expensive to redeem and get those seats, and taxes actually kill you in Qatar. Correct. Taxes are insane, yaar. मतलब लाख रुपए टैक्स है दिल्ली टू लंदन अगर आपको
क्योंकि LHR का टैक्स है ना,
LHR का tax
वही
है,
वही
हाँ।
सीन है.
But there was some hack where somebody spoke about it, right? You go to the closest airport from there.
यार वो नहीं वर्क करता क्योंकि
Edinburgh
ओवरऑल
नहीं?
इज वेरी एक्सपेंसिव.
Air India has bought a Gatwick flight now.
हाँ एयर इंडिया थोड़ा Gatwick है बट वो भी थोड़ा 20% कम है.
नहीं, but can't you go to something like a
You can go to Dublin. You can fly options.
I've never, I've honestly not, मतलब इतना भी नहीं है but overall I think it's a product wise it's great.
So where is your loyalty today in terms of airlines? Which airline is it with internationally? Top 1 and 2.
Qatar, I said no.
No, not so. Qatar, I think if I get the right
Yeah.
flight at the right price, I will use it. I think the two airlines that I frequent the most today is Virgin and Air India. Honestly, Air India has a revival, and I'll tell you why. So,
And you take the one out of Delhi every now and then?
I take the one
Because
out
you're
of
based there?
yes, I take
Yeah.
the one out of Delhi, and I'm flying mostly to Europe. I think Air India, obviously, with the merger and everything, it took some time. So if you fly the 787.
Yeah.
The Boeings, right?
Yeah.
That's a normal experience.
Yeah.
But if you fly the A350 business,
So yeah, I mean that's
so that is
yeah.
my default now to London is the A350.
How are you figuring out, Ankit, which one is the A350 versus the 787?
No, it mentions no. Now I know the flight time. मुझे पता है कि
It is frequent नहीं. So
2:30. So out of London.
Equipment change नहीं होता कभी?
नहीं, मेरे साथ नहीं होता. मैंने
नहीं
देखा है.
सर मैं आपको एक बात बताता हूँ.
हाँ.
बैंगलोर वाली जो जनता है ना,
हाँ.
वो सब प्यार करना चाहती है एयर इंडिया से,
हाँ,
कर नहीं पाती है.
बिल्कुल.
क्यों? They have ignored us.
Sir, 20 साल पुरानी aircraft है.
Flights
Yeah.
out of
क्यों
Bangalore.
Bangalore to Delhi A350?
They have
No, but only big cities. No.
For example, they have killed flights after the Vistara merger. I can no longer fly Goa on Air India. I have to go on Air India Express.
Oh really? Is it? I didn't know that. Sorry. I
Second
didn't.
thing, I took a flight, the A350, when it was in the trial round. I went to Chennai and then to Mumbai just to experience it. तो आपने मेरे को आदत तो डाल दी. अब मैं क्या करूँ?
This is the one that I
अभी
booked
जो
for you.
SFO के लिए भी जो फ्लाइट है, डायरेक्ट फ्लाइट 16 hours, that's a 20-year-old aircraft. तो मतलब हमको जाना ही नहीं है भाई, हम rather
Bangalore to
business
SFO
aircraft
is-
होते
I will
हैं.
get
तो आपने
killed.
दिल्ली से होकर my point is like
We do
I
that.
choose
We do
my
that.
flight
We do that.
like so there's a 2:30 so the biggest problem now confusion happens with Air India is after the merger is कि कौन सी Air India कौन सी विस्तारा है. Correct. Right, that's the deciding that is the biggest problem. So you have to make sure that वो 3 digit है तो Air India है, 4 digit है तो
So Amit,
विस्तारा.
break it down for our listeners. How do we identify whether a flight is ex-Vistara or not?
So the flight code, if it is a AI 4 digit code, then it's always a Vistara.
2016 is going to be Vistara.
2016 is Vistara, but 191, for example, yeah, is a Air India OG. Now in there, for me now, I know so as I said, I frequently fly to London a lot. I still have PR over there, etc. So I only fly the A350. It is a 2:30 AM flight, 6:30 AM flight जो मिलती है Redemption के ऊपर, and it is honestly that
और मस्त है 60,000 points पे. It's एरोप्लेन पे.
for aeroplane पे 60,000 है. हाँ. Life miles में
45.
45,000.
Life miles. Yeah.
So
How
life
can you forget that?
life miles honestly. So
Life miles Air India flight.
life miles obviously life miles Air India. So the amount of money that I've saved honestly. So for me now as I said right, fly a lot for myself. Fly with family a lot. I have two beautiful daughters and a lovely wife. So we try to fly. Obviously, we want to fly the best, which is all this business. I've obviously sometimes taken flights where we split, like because obviously it's very hard to get 4 redemption seats on one
तो सर ये
flight.
बताओ कि जिस दिन आपको मिक्स कैबिन मिलती है, who flies economy and who takes the business seat?
नहीं हम मिक्स कैबिन मतलब ऑब्वियसली मैं ही चाहूंगा. मैं इसमें कोई
There is a gentleman in our group who managed to make his wife sit in economy and he sat in prison. I said भाई तुमने लाइफ जीत लिया.
ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता.
मेरे लाइफ में तो नहीं
बहुत
होता.
बहुत मुश्किल है भाई.
ऐसा तो
मतलब
नहीं हो सकता.
मेरे लाइफ में तो
you
नहीं
have to
होता.
stand outside for the next 2 days. You don't have entry into the room is denied.
No, but by the way, we found a very interesting thing in one of our episodes we were discussing with the only airline where I have been able to find 6 business class seats together. 8. It's Cathay Pacific.
कहते पैसे पे तो भी है.
Insane.
So Abhi, I've actually fallen in love with the Japanese airlines.
Oh yeah.
JAL and ANA both are
So
insane.
आना या जल कौन सी पसंद?
मेरे को दोनों है. अभी JAL पे I've actually thoda recently.
By the way, the interesting part is I didn't know this till a long time. The JAL ka premium economy is considered to be the best.
The best premium economy. Yes, absolutely.
They have more legroom than probably a lot of business classes.
If you ever want to fly the first class, the
Then use that.
JAL A350 first classes are insane, huh?
Wrong thing. Thank you.
So I've actually flown the JAL premium economy. It is actually very good. In fact, now what I'm hearing is that the Emirates is launching a new premium economy hard product, which is which is actually supposed to be very good. But yeah, so anyways, coming back to I think the A350 business class honestly is
on left miles.
on life miles. Like I plan that I make sure that that's the one that I use. I am okay to change my date of travel a couple of times. So I believe that what people actually don't realize is the value of this, the alliances. So Life Miles, as I said, has a brilliant product, and I use a lot for Thailand as well. If you want to go that part of the world, then also it's got a great connectivity. Life Miles.
Which airline?
Air India, no, Thai Airways पे आपको
Thai Airways,
Yeah,
okay.
Thai Airways पे business class return
How
is
much is the
50,000. So 25,000 is business class, 12,500 is economy.
Wow.
It is
And the
insane.
taxes are similar for business and economy?
Same है यार उसमें anywhere else in the world the taxes actually London is where taxes matter. वो similar है 40-50 or
So tell me one
$40
thing,
something.
on Life Miles, you just mentioned when you started the podcast, you were saying you bought some Life Miles,
I bought a transfer. I used to transfer
Perfect.
from the time when it was 1:1 with HDFC Infinity.
Yeah.
Now it has become 2:1.
Correct.
So tell me one thing, like, do you speculately buy whenever there's an offer, or you buy when you require it? Like,
No,
how do you
I
do?
buy when there is an offer because I know I'm going to be, I will
Using it.
using it. So I think it depends, right? Like Virgin, for example, is the best to buy because it never expires. So in the last probably 12 months, within myself and my friend circle, we probably bought, I think, 30-40 lakhs worth of Virgin
Wow,
coin.
wow.
Sabko maine dilaya hai because the actual savings. So Virgin also, in fact, they've devalued now. Before the devaluation, it was the best redemption possible, especially during peak times.
But this is for London, no? Like partner redemptions are still good.
Now to redemption, they've devalued everywhere, no?
No, but what is your sweet spot? Virgin plus Virgin. You take the Virgin program and book the Virgin flight.
I booked the Virgin program because it is fixed now. So London का क्या था कि whether it's December when a return ticket is £2,000 economy, you would still get it for 10,000 plus plus £100 in taxes.
Virgin still works great for all the
How's the availability?
It is the best availability, in my opinion. Virgin has the best availability of all programs
So
because
you find it even in short period of time, because that's one of the problems. that
And obviously, you
people
won't
face.
find it in December. But right now, for example, I've just booked today for a first week of May.
Oh.
And availability on premium economy was, everything was available. The problem now that they made is with that whole dynamic thing. You have to hunt for a good redemption. So,
Similar to a Flying Blue, where you don't always get the best price.
I'm not a fan of dynamic pricing person.
I think the lesson for our viewers who are watching here is two things, like Ankit said. Please understand the power of alliances.
yes.
Being a part of Star Alliance or One World or SkyTeam, whichever route works for you, understand this game because you can benefit a lot. The second thing, which is very underrated, Ankit, which I don't know if our viewers picked up, be flexible with your dates. If you're adamant that, for example, I have to fly on 1st May only, it doesn't work like that on points and miles. On revenue, sure, you can do what you want because it barely makes a difference. But when it comes to miles, ensure that you can tweak 3 days after, 3 days prior, or a week later. It can make a huge difference.
No, and also, just to add one point to that, I think, so it depends on what you want, right? Some people want, like, it depends, right? Personal choice. I just want to go here and I'll find I'll find a seat and I'll go. Or some people will say, I want to travel in a certain way and I will be flexible. Now, if you want to travel a certain way and you want to be flexible, what also you need to understand is that the power of different programs is different. So I'll give you an example. As I said, right, on Air India, Life Miles, 45,000. Aeroplan is also honestly one of the best programs out there, right? And I've seen the same flight where I'm getting, like, let's say Etihad, for example. Etihad is you get on Aeroplan as well, or the latest great redemption I had, and I thought I would never fly, but I was getting a great redemption, was Gulf Air. So I was going Delhi-London via Bahrain. Brilliant experience and an amazing redemption on Aeroplan, which I managed to get. And I flew where, so I'm also not picky. मतलब अगर दो like a direct flight is 9 hours. Let's say 12 घंटे लग जाए तो ठीक है. Obviously I'm not going to do 17 hours or something like that. Like, but a 2-3 hour halt here and there is fine when you're experiencing a great hard product, especially on the business class side.
You did the Gulf Air ka business class.
Gulf Air ka business
How was
class.
it, like good experience?
I think it was honestly it was really great. Like I didn't expect so good, especially right. I would still say the A350 Delhi London is the best, but it was a really great product in terms of it's got a newer configuration. It's like a semi closed off, but space wise, like the window seat, if you are able to get on there, has a massive it's a massive space. Jala actually I've just flown. I've used once for Japan, so it's great. But I don't know. I've never actually used it to fly anywhere else because
Even if the number is great, do you mean come a leg space angle or like
we have service element.
it feels more like business class?
It feels service element, how they treat you. Like Virgin actually has a separate so I think what I love about the Virgin overall, from an experience perspective, is if you fly the upper class, the whole the lounge aspect that they've got is brilliant. Where they have a full space in the air. The bar and the lounge is brilliant, and in premium economy they have a full they call it the Wonder Wall or something, where you have all your stuff. So it's good. They treat you well, like, and especially now with kids and all, right? It's important to have an airline which sort of treats you well, etc.
Nice.
So yeah.
It's been a fun one talking about all the airlines, but let's summarize.
But Adil, I want to say something before you summarize. Are you hurt that there is no mention of Singapore Airlines in the entire discussion?
No, not necessarily. He said Middle Eastern. My problem is taken care of.
Like doesn't list like is Singapore Airlines in his top 3 also? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's okay. It is still in my top 3.
I'm not going to leave the opportunity to.
It's still in my top 3.
Is that because of like the amazing experiences that you've had, or what is it?
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to try all their products when it comes to the suites, their first, their business, economy and premium economy. So every permutation and combination that exists on all their aircrafts I've tried, and I love their hospitality.
And he also promotes them wholeheartedly. Like
So the only thing I'll say, one thing good about SQ is that they're the only airlines where I've multiple times paid to upgrade. Because I honestly believe they're whether it's economy to premium economy or premium economy, they're reasonable pricing and product is good.
See, the other thing about SQ, it's one of the only airlines in the world. Even if you don't have status, this is important. Even if you don't have status, if you're at Changi and let's say you are on an award seat, you're flying business, okay? You showed up, let's say 6 hours earlier. There is a flight in the next 1.5 hours. You casually mention, ma'am, I noticed there is this flight that is going 1.5 hours earlier. Can you see if there's availability on that flight and put me on there? She'll be like, give me a second. She'll pick up the phone. It's done, sir. Have a good flight.
So
Rarely happens.
I think this is important actually because that's a great point actually because I've had experiences where I know seats are available and I'm flying business and they've said no. So that's important. I think the other thing I think overall generally before we conclude what I think to say is that honestly I think there's a lot of amazing experiences to be had out there. And I think we are at a stage where Indians are slowly sort of warming up to the fact that you don't need to spend. So पहले क्या अभी भी क्या है मेरा क्या है मैं business class जा रहा हूँ तो perception is कि मैं यार 5 लाख रुपए खर्च कर रहा हूँ. Like a Delhi London business class return on a Air India or a Virgin is roughly 3.5 lakh rupees, right?
Yeah.
Now I know for a fact that you can get that same experience for let's say 1.5 lakhs using the points or whatever it is. So, and I think a lot more people are now warming up to the fact because लोग को पता नहीं था. My point is कि यार मेरे को जाना है ना तो ऐसा नहीं कि मैं 3 लाख रुपए नहीं खर्च कर सकता. But I think it is foolish. It will be like fiduciarily immoral of me to sort of spend that amount of money when when something else is out there. So if you are in that state, so again as I said, there are 2 types of people. One is आपको जाना है, मैं experience करना है. You're in the entry level stage. That's great. Credit cards and miles and all open up a great door for you. But I think on the other flip side of it, if you can afford it, still it is your people. I personally, for example, I work hard for my money, right? मैं अगर पैसे बचा सकता हूँ मतलब मैं मैं क्यों नहीं मैं I want to save money and have the same experience and lifestyle.
This is one of those rare instances where you can have your cake and eat it too.
Exactly.
So
And
why
when
not?
it is available, and this is something that honestly is something that I've learned with my dine out journey. Man, some of the at Dine Out, right, we used to do a lot of parties for people, organize birthdays, organize a lot of events, etc. कह रही मैंने ना सीखा है लोगों से ना doesn't matter जो मजा आता है ना पैसे बचाने में.
that satisfying feeling.
Hey, but sir, I'll ask you one very interesting question here, right? So when we started this journey, me, Adil, Amay, we all were focused on one thing. We want to get Indians flying as much as possible, right? Traveling as much as possible. One thing I'm seeing consistently is that the awareness about this entire miles thing is still very, very nascent. Right? Hai nahi hai, let's say. One thing is obviously credit cards ka adoption hi kam hai, let's say in India, whatever, right? But we genuinely feel that how do you kind of, because आप अगर बोल रहे हो कि somebody has to not spend that money, he has to have miles, right? So having miles, he has to have credit.
So I'll tell you the biggest problem. So I'll tell you the thing that you asked me at the beginning of the show, that how, for example, लोग बोलते हैं बाहर खाना आज भी टैबू है और माइंडसेट है बाहर खा रहा है क्यों खा रहा है पीछे. The same way ना people associate credit card with debt, and that is again going back to the traditional Indian mindset. So I have had friends, close friends, businessmen, generate who have crores of turnover, not using credit cards because वो mindset है उनके parents का कि भाई मतलब मुझे ज़रूरत नहीं है. So and I've actually personally converted a lot of those guys into credit card holders, and they start to realize the value because you're the same. So a very close friend of mine, 2 holidays a year, family of 4, fly business class, stay the best hotels, everything, 20-25 लाख रुपीस बजट वो खर्च करता था. अब वो सेम 10 लाख में कर पा रहा है because and you don't need to do much, right? If everyday spends can be भाई मैं spend कर रहा हूँ, why not spend on my card? So
But Ankit, I'll tell you, this is a very fair point, right? But हमारे बहुत सारे audience ऐसे हैं ना जो who we routinely keep getting these messages from our audience, right? There are starters. Like somebody who doesn't spend 25 lakhs. What is your advice? One advice to that guy who's
again, I'm
starting
saying
out?
there are 2 different types of audiences out there, right? I think the problem, the way it will probably expand is you build bottom up, but you also have to go top down. The problem is that top down जो actual spend है वो भी नहीं कर रहे. Bottom up तो आपकी audience is obviously the TAM is huge, but they will obviously spend the ticket size will be lower.
Correct.
To get them hooked also, like the guys who are getting first time into the jobs and who are I think it's a lot about educating the right way that credit card doesn't necessarily mean debt. Obviously, people spiral. There have been cases where people spiral out. So managing debt also, I think the literacy around credit card is very important. Like if you have money, you're able to pay off, every 45 days, etc., etc. I think that's the important bit, right? I think this is where people falter, and this is where people sort of get into situations where the mismanagement between income and expenditure happens because of credit card. That's a very valid problem. But having said that, I think the education also is very important at both levels, at the bottom level, but at the top level as well. I'm telling you, the top level is a problem as well.
Got one bucket. There is a set of people I know who has X lakh of Infinia points. He doesn't even care. He doesn't even know how to use them. There are those people also. एक है जो spend नहीं कर रहा है, एक है जिसका points है लेकिन उसको पता नहीं use points ऐसे use करना है. They are redeeming it at 25 पैसे cash.
But ये वही है, like I think in terms of personas, one, there is like the miner, right? Like he's mining points बचपन से, लेकिन वो कभी खर्च नहीं करेगा या तो फिर वो cash में convert करेगा. That's a behavior that we've seen. The second one is the hoarder, which will not even redeem it for 25 पैसा. मैं बैठा हूँ that I will do a grand attempt.
दोनों का problem क्या है ना, that people have got absolutely hammered in the devaluation.
Exactly.
Because क्या होता है, you see, this is one thing which I believe that honestly, like, at least the way I look at it is that for me it is a lifestyle management issue, right? I want to live life a certain way. I want to stay at the best hotels. I want to fly, in the best possible. So I use it. So I earn and burn.
Exactly.
I think that is what the education has to be out there. क्या मतलब आप 2 million points आपके बेटर और आप उसके 1 million खर्च कर.
आपको बहुत ही simple चीज बताता हूँ. हमने we did a recent episode on Hong Kong. The amount of comments that we got where people, like 25 people I know at least, whose message are saying कि okay, we are planning our first Hong Kong trip now. We are also doing those episodes because we feel that if you have points, if you have a free weekend, find a visa-free country or a e-visa country or a par country like Hong Kong. Just go over the weekend. Don't go to Ooty. We had this debate, right?
No, and this is actually a great point. Overall, right, traveling in India now has become damn expensive, like very expensive, right? Like it is cheaper to go to a Thailand for a weekend or a Vietnam for the weekend, and we're seeing the effort being made by everyone with the airlines and everything, and the hospitality. Obviously, so Indians, obviously, when you compare to the Western world, we have great hospitality, but when you compare to the Southeast Asia, they are better. Yeah. So I think in travel in India, I do 5 to 6 trips in India every year, but I also do 7 8 trips outside India every year. The point is, I think you have to live more.
Very well said. I think this is the point, right? What is the point of having a million miles if you've not experienced some of the finest experiences in the sky?
Another thing which now points recently I started to see, and I'm now trying to redeem them for, is experiences. Yeah. So Bonvoy and Qatar have both amazing experiences. So, for example, I have just I've entered multiple raffles for the Champions League. They have a redemption. They have a bidding. No, they have a bidding going on. No, kya 5 lakh? The bidding starts at 20,000.
No, I'm saying I think it's already reached that. I'm saying.
No, depends on the match. Depends on the match. Where the 31st March is actually the last date for the bidding for the final rounds.
What is the current bid at?
Yeah, it depends on the match. Like if you do a Paris PSG in Paris, it is like at 100,000.
That's still okay.
Avios, but if you do, let's say, Leipzig or something like that, it's at 20,000-30,000 also. So I've entered multiple. The same way with now Bournemouth. So Marriott has a great partnership with Manchester, like a lot of football clubs.
Yeah,
Manchester United
has the Man United one. Yeah.
Man United.
Even F1 they have like
F1 also. So Man United has a great redemption opportunity right now for I think 50,000 or 100,000. I'm not sure, but.
See, the cool part about that Marriott redemption is they give you access to the pit lane.
Oh, yeah.
So now you're going to be walking in the pit walk alongside drivers, right? Yeah. Drivers are using the same. Toto Wolff is walking from there. That is an experience.
That day you will know why Marriott is different than Accor.
Absolutely. I will tell you this, I will disagree on the Man United redemption. Okay, point is that Man U, why do you want to see them?
You're experiencing Old Trafford.
I'm a Liverpool fan.
I'm an Arsenal fan. But
आज सुबह को मैं बोल रहा था किसी को, I think X पे I was chatting with somebody. Manchester United, RCB and Ferrari. It's very hard to be fans of these three names. It's the last decade has been
horrors. Yeah. No, so let's not. Sports is a different. That is a different topic altogether. But the point I'm trying to make is that I think that for the evolved person, I think, or from a knowledge perspective, right? Now these are experiences which be very difficult for someone to actually go for or pay, because these are some things which, like as MasterCard truly said, things are some things are priceless. Yeah. So it is these are one of those lifetime experiences which people should go and have. So that's what now at least I am trying to also do, use my points for that. But what's the point? मैं किसको बताना है कि मेरे पास 5 million points पड़े हैं?
आपने बोला Marriott Bonvoy का है, Qatar का है. Any other sites that help us? Like does Amex also do this? Like
Amex, honestly, I'm not like these two are the ones I'm actively.
Amex also does.
Amex does occasional. Yeah. Amex does occasional.
Today I don't know if you heard, but the Carabao Cup final that happened in England.
हाँ, that
100,000 points में मिल गया यार.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So point is, I think lesson what we are trying to summarize here, this section is live your life.
Absolutely.
We all save for a rainy day. It is a good thing to save for a rainy day. Lekin don't go beyond that.
It's not necessarily expensive. I think you want to get a PSG ticket, you'll get it super cheap on Accor. Just go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So go ahead and experience, live it, and then. Well, you learn those miles back.
See, right? And also, what people underrated is like the redemption story, right? Like for example, we spoke about airlines redemption, like hotel redemptions also with Bonvoy and Accor are great. Like Accor has a fixed redemption. We know 1:1, 1.8 or something. But I've had some amazing redemptions with Marriott.
Amit, Ankit, double click करते हैं. So top 3 Marriott redemptions ever.
Top 3 नहीं है, मेरे लिए top 1 है.
ठीक है.
Ritz Carlton Hong Kong.
Whoa. बताओ क्यों?
So it was we were pregnant at that point in time, and it was the last holiday before our baby in 2019, before our first, so we
Yeah.
had to, we wanted to have a nice break,
Yeah.
and we couldn't fly too far away because of obviously restrictions. I think we were in the end of second trimester or something like that. So we just wanted to see what are the best hotels out there and and travel there.
Yeah.
Ritz-Carlton Hong Kong, the average I think revenue price is probably
3 lakh, I think.
2019 mein, when we checked was like I think $1,500 a night or something like that, and that hotel is truly stunning. Like it starts on the 110th floor or something like that.
Oh.
I think it's the highest or one of the top
Where
three
in Hong
highest.
Kong is it? Is it in the mainland or the island? Since side?
No, it's on the
Victoria.
it's
Victoria
on
Harbour ke paas, I think.
Harbor. It's just on the harbor. Just across is the Kowloon Bay Pier, I think. Kowloon Bay Pier. So 5 nights was $7,500-8,000 revenue. Some offer. I don't know what was going. Maybe booked there. And this is the one thing, right? Like I keep checking. Like I plan my holidays now based on like what's a great deal available, right? So for somehow I don't know what happened is that I got it for 100,000 a night, and the best thing about Bonvoy is that you get the fifth night free.
Yeah.
So 4 lakh point mein matlab $8,000 ka, which is even though it's what like 1.5 whatever. The point is that I was able to, like we had a brilliant. It's honestly one of the best hotels in my, like we had days when 2 days like we couldn't see each other, we were above the clouds. That's how amazing that.
Hong Kong is amazing.
That's
weather.
how
amazing.
Other
weather.
than that, you
hotel.
earned brownie points for life, man. I mean,
Exactly,
you made
yeah.
the wife feel special when it
So-
truly mattered the most. I think
Absolutely.
this is important.
So there I've had one which I missed, which I thought that I will go is the Masai Mara.
I was about
Yeah.
to ask you that.
Yeah.
यार वो था वो मैंने सोचा था करेंगे वो I told you last we had we had 2 babies in the last so 2019 and 2023 फिर कोविड तो we couldn't travel but वो एक टाइम पे इतना amazingly cheap
Yeah.
लेकिन
available
ऐसा थोड़ा सा लाइफ में एस्पिरेशन रहते रहना चाहिए सो दैट वी कैन कीप लिविंग फॉर
नहीं नहीं अभी वो तो अभी बच्चे बड़े हो रहे हैं तो उनको देखना होगा तो I'm sure.
तो अभी
Figure out a
जो
plan.
एस्पिरेशन अभी जो नया खुला I don't know if you guys are aware but the Ritz-Carlton Maldives
Oh yeah, Fari Islands.
Faria, it is like $6,000 a night.
Yeah.
It is insane. Like so I've had a actually great redemption story in Maldives where
कहाँ गए थे आप?
Sheraton Full Moon,
Oh yeah.
brilliant. Like it's a great property.
Yeah. Very kid
speedboat,
friendly as well. One of the only ones that is kid friendly.
So exactly. So we actually went in 2020, 21 just after
Lockdown के बाद?
Lockdown के बाद खुला था. Our daughter was 2
With the
years
baby.
with the baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
A group of four
That's a true travel
four
experience.
Yeah.
four friends, all of us with small kids. Like after the lockdown, like, it was a brilliant sort of experience.
I went with my kids as well to Sheraton Full Moon. The hospitality is great. Like the staff will really go out of their way to take care
And
of
I'm
the
talking
kids.
about 20 or 21 in April. So just before the second wave.
Yeah.
And after, so lockdown, at that time they were like, hands down one of the best.
Yeah, and like 160, 180k points, 5 nights. And
Very reasonable.
almost always, all the people that I know have been upgraded.
Yeah.
I have
we
not
booked
seen a
we
case
got a
booked a
cocktail.
normal
We got
room.
a
Gold delight or normal any
When I went, I was gold.
that's-
So I got upgraded to the water villa. And then 2 days later, met the manager. Luckily, they got us the water villa with the pool.
That's a good part about
So-
big properties. Like they generally have a lot of suites and
Yeah.
they'll give you a good experience.
If it's available, they upgrade you.
Yeah,
So
Marriott
there's-
either loyalty matters, right?
Yeah.
So because now I'm titanium,
Yeah.
I don't think so. I remember a stay last time where I've not got upgraded. Like even in so I traveled to London a lot. Some of the most amazing property.
What's your favorite property in London to stay at? Given that you travel a lot.
So it depends on the experience that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Like if you're going with family, I think,
Yeah.
and you want to be like in shopping everything.
Yeah.
So there's a Marriott Grosvenor Square on Bond Street.
Yeah.
It's like 20 meters away from Oxford, from
brilliant.
Bond Street.
Yeah.
Really?
That's great. The JW Marriott, just opposite Hyde Park.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's a great location also.
That's a great
Hyde Park is
location.
amazing.
Brilliant property. With friends and all, Leicester Square is amazing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it depends. Again, I think now a lot is is become about who you're traveling with. Right?
Correct, yeah.
Again, one of the most amazing redemptions I've had, or experiences actually, is Ritz-Carlton Baku.
Whoa, Baku.
Ritz
Went for the race.
I didn't go for the race. I went with so after the Swiggy deal had happened, like the diner four of us, the 4 diner founders,
nice.
we all went to just for a break.
Yeah.
Got upgraded to like Baku. I think is an amazing destination where like the experience itself
Interesting.
was just to like the hotel, the hospitality was amazing. So I think these are like my point is that if we have time, like, and Baku again, like what you said earlier, right? There are amazing destinations 3 to 4 hours away where you do a
Absolutely.
Thursday to a Monday. That's it. You don't need to do more.
Exactly.
And now no longer is it just all restricted to Thailand, which was where do you go, right? Thailand.
Thailand mini India बन गया.
Exactly. Vietnam jao, Baku, now because Almaty, Baku are great destinations. Middle East, great destinations. So I think if you have, why not? I think that's what people.
But I'm going to tell you something, like every time, like in our episodes, we're giving a lot of gyan about, let's say, kahan travel karna hai. Today, it's a situation where now I'm also going to live for more experiences after hearing your experiences.
Absolutely.
Yeah, experiences, I think, honestly,
good,
is
like, really
the-
motivational for me because
Yeah.
I also want to do some of these
आज तो
destinations.
experience pro max हो गया. So
नहीं यार हो गया.
Now you talked about this thing, right? You talked about your Bond Street at Leicester Street and what. Let's get into the food side of things. Right? We talked about London. London's got. I mean, I've not visited for too long. I remember going to Dishum, but
नहीं Dishum has
I'm sure it's gone down.
no,
over
not
time.
gone down. So Dishum was the OG, right? But it came to fame at a time when nothing else existed, right?
Right.
Now, honestly, see, Indian food in London always has been great, but now, like, so this, like, last week itself, I went to 2 amazing restaurants in London for the first time ever. One was, so there's a new place called Brigadiers, which is Indian food, amazing place. Gymkhana is open, which is amazing.
Gymkhana, I think by far is the best Indian restaurant I've ever eaten at in the world. But what's your experience been like? Do you rate it as number 1 or do you
No,
think like
I think it's great,
Yeah.
but not the best.
What's the best according to you? Best Indian food in the world?
So honestly, I don't. It's very difficult being a foodie, being a diner. The way I like to think about restaurants is that what is that one thing that it's really good for?
Okay.
Right. So whether you want to go for India, where do you like a debate which I've endlessly had? Where do you get the best butter chicken?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about that. Where?
So first of all, city bowling is Delhi.
हाँ.
Nothing. Like
Delhi में कहाँ?
So Delhi mein now, I've had amazing butter chickens across. Like the OGs are, let's say your Moti Mahal
Yeah.
is the OG.
Defense level.
But I think there's
But
a
today, let's
restaurant
say
that's
Ankit wants to
underrated.
go.
So my
Yeah.
best butter chicken
Yeah.
in Delhi is at a place called Minar.
Minar. Okay.
So there's a Minar in CP and then there's a new Minar in GK1. So that's a restaurant that I swear by in terms of like,
Yeah.
वहाँ का मुझे महीने में एक बार butter chicken खाना था. But then
हाँ.
it's not just that, right? Like different things like Bukhara is for one thing.
Oh, yeah,
is
for sure, yeah.
I think so. And now I think with food, right? We no longer like. I've seen the journey evolve from 2011, 12 to 2025. जब 11-12 में वही 5 restaurant पे जाते थे ना. Now it is count like you will be surprised. The smallest of the restaurants can have the best. So now I'm no longer so earlier or what I've seen the journey evolve is यार पहले होता यार ये आपको अच्छा खाना खाना था वो बुखारा ही जाना है या दमपत्ती जाना है वो दाल बुखारा ही बेस्ट है. Now it is like a smaller places also you'll get some amazing
absolutely, yeah.
Right on the spot, right?
Yes.
We have a subscriber. His name is Sticky Delta. Okay. Sticky Delta wants to know what are the best place to have chole bhature.
By the way, Sticky Delta is awesome. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for tuning in on a regular basis. We really appreciate it. But his question, like Amya said, सबसे अच्छे छोले भटूरे इंडिया में कहाँ?
हमारे
यार देखो when it comes to food, right? सब इंडिया में पूरे इंडिया में खाने के बाद दिल्ली से बेटर खाना ये मैं बोलता हूँ कहीं नहीं है.
I will agree.
And
मैं agree करता हूँ.
And so let me rephrase. Let me take it a step back. Right? For OG hardcore Indian food and your charts and all, Delhi is by far the.
And soya cha.
नहीं मैं नहीं खाता सोया
मेरे को तो बहुत पसंद है. आप लोग कुछ भी
नॉन वेज
बोलो.
हो गया आप सोया चाप खाते हो मैं कितना ही बोलूं आपके लिए.
See, I have appreciation for all food. I'm not biased.
let's go.
So Sitaram's is amazing
Okay.
For chole bhature.
for छोले भटूरे.
सीताराम्स लोकेशन बता दो.
यार लोकेशन अब बहुत अब मल्टीपल लोकेशन हो गए ओल्ड एरिया में तो when you're in
Sitaram,
Delhi,
okay, perfect.
you find out.
सर ये आपने आसान वाला सवाल आंसर किया. बैंगलोर में अच्छे छोले भटूरे कहाँ मिलता है ये बता दीजिए.
नहीं.
He'll say mission impossible, है ही नहीं.
मैं खाया ही नहीं होगा.
Why would you eat?
Why would I eat, right? Then I honestly still think Nagpal's is amazing.
Nagpal's.
And they've opened multiple locations, etc. So good food, and I'll stop
So
at that.
we'll do like a quick rapid fire round
Yeah.
with you. Rapid fire में what we'll do is you need to rate like Dine Out पे भी एक रेटिंग होती थी ना 5-star वाली. So I want you to do
I mean,
5
ये
star.
बहुत सबसे डिफिकल्ट काम है रेट का.
हाँ ये आपको सिर्फ
मतलब-
रेट करना है. I'm going to give you multiple names.
हाँ.
You will rate and ये नहीं कि पता नहीं ये सब नहीं. Straight. So there is bad, good, great, awesome, good.
If I've not been to a place, then
NA.
हाँ ठीक है. हाँ.
So
Or
bad.
put it last time.
So bad, worst, good, great, awesome, goat. Okay. So let's start with because you're from Delhi. Let's start with Delhi.
One caveat before
Yeah.
this, okay?
Yeah.
इसमें से अब कोई आपने नाम लिया, so I'm also actually invested in a lot of restaurant. कोई नाम ले लिया तो फिर
अरे कोई
उसकी बहुत ही
problem नहीं
बोलना
है.
पड़ेगा.
कोई problem.
बोल देना.
So Delhi से start करते
Delhi
हैं.
से.
Indian accent.
Overhyped.
Bukhara.
Overhyped.
Dampukt.
Good.
Gulatis.
Amazing.
Karim's Jama Masjid.
OG.
Big Chill.
For me, overhyped. For my wife, OG.
Dakshin.
Good.
That rounds off Delhi.
Delhi.
Let's come to Bombay. The Bombay
I'm
canteen.
going to take offense in moment.
Okay.
Sabko Coffee.
I've not been there, no.
Mizu Izakaya.
OG.
Ashok Vada Pav.
OG.
Lucky Bandra.
Not been there.
O Pedro.
Overhyped.
Veronica's.
No, I've not been there.
Izumi.
OG. But Izumi, Goa, OG
Even
Max.
better.
OG
Yeah.
Max.
Yeah.
Max. मैं category
Yawacha.
Hit and miss.
Hit and miss. All right, let's come to Bangalore. This is going to be spicy. Vidyarthi Bhavan.
Overrated. I will tell you first thing.
No. Overhyped, obviously.
There is one gentleman who will vehemently disagree. Dhiman, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so there is a category of restaurants now. When you go to London, right? वो Leicester Square जाओ, वो जो tourist traps बोलते हैं.
नहीं sir, but I tell you about Vidyarthi Bhavan what I feel, right? And again, I've been on both sides. पहले एक कर्व आता है जब everybody hypes Vidyarthi Bhavan. Everybody wants to go to Vidyarthi Bhavan. Then एक बंदा गाली देता है. Everybody wants to give गाली to Vidyarthi Bhavan.
But listen,
it's not that bad as well.
I have been to Vidyarthi Bhavan 2000s when it was a regular for me, okay? Early 2000s. Their quality is what? I am sorry, but
No, but I'm saying
ये तो तभी overhyped बोल
Yeah,
रहा
I
है.
agree. But if you still are in that part of Bangalore, it's an experience you should take. I feel it's the crispiness of the dosa is still good. This is
a
what
hit
my
and
point of view is. Yeah, hit or miss.
hit or
Hit and
miss.
miss.
Let's
Chalo.
agree.
Let's agree to disagree.
All right, so
It's not the best dosa, by the way. I agree. with
okay,
that.
so Vidyarthi Bhavan. The next one, I think Dhimant will again disagree, but let's see what Ankit has to say. Rameshwaram Cafe.
Less said the better. Less said the better.
thank you.
I agree. I agree.
Naru Noodle Bar.
Good.
Bastion.
Bombay one better.
Wabi Sabi.
Okay.
Toast and Tonic.
Okay.
Royal Afghan.
Not been there.
Roxy.
Too pink. Amazing after drinks.
You can drink to get started.
Alright, so we round off the rapid fire. But let's talk about, so if you're in Bangalore, like you're in Bangalore now, you're here for business and social visits, what are one or two restaurants that you will say, I have to be here, I have to go there, or even if you can't, there will be a regret कि यार इधर नहीं जा पाया for whatever reason.
It's a hard
Yeah.
question. So I think a shout out I have to say. So I think no Bangalore trip is complete without a night out in Mirage.
Oh yeah.
Because I love the place. It's one of those rare places in Bangalore where it is rooftop, amazing, and where you have to enjoy the Bangalore weather, right?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So rooftop, amazing weather, all of. So I have to have, and we've had some legendary experiences in Mirage over the years. If you're with friends or you're on a team
Yeah.
looking to have a good time,
Yeah.
Badmash is amazing. Where it's one of the rare places. The UB City one, right? UB City or
Koramangala में भी है.
Koramangala.
Koramangala में भी है.
It is one of those rare places where as a Delhiite, Bollywood, they actually play
Bollywood songs.
amazing Bollywood.
Nice.
So that's the one. The other ones I think I would say is so Daddy's is it's an old school
12th main one.
12th main one. It's an old school type where we sort of go and so 3-4.
So because you frequent London so much, most favorite restaurant or couple of favorite restaurants that everybody should experience once, according to you?
in London.
Yeah.
So I think again, my personal if you go to London, you don't go to the traditional mainstream Indian
Yeah.
restaurants these days.
Yeah.
Well, you'll get it at most places. I think if you want to experience different food, I think the kadhai food that you get in London. If you want to experience Asian Indian food,
Yeah.
kadhai is amazing. East London,
Yeah.
Tayyab's, and also there are a couple of restaurants in
Yeah.
East London which are just amazing, right? Like, and kadhai is is the actual Pakistani version of
Yeah.
of food. So that's
So like your nihari,
Neharis and your the
kormas.
the kormas.
Yeah.
Those are so amazing. Kebabs, like Tayyab's has I've
Yeah.
had the best kebabs there over. So that's amazing. I think recently I went to an amazing restaurant which is Lucky Cat, which is Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
And they've opened a new one in Bishopsgate. It's touted to be the highest restaurant in Europe. The view itself is amazing, but the food was really good. It's the latest restaurant by Gordon Ramsay, so the food was out of the world. Apart from that, I think honestly, like London has probably one of the best food cultures in the world. Like even
sure.
when you compare to New York and London, I would say London wins hands down because of its variability, right? So every type, and again, I'm talking about as a tour. Like you have to get out of the central London zone. There it is mostly tourist traps, but when you go down to like the southwest London around Fulham and all, that's amazing. If you go a bit north to Swiss Cottage and that area, so I think it depends on what you want. Like Italian, for example, I've had some amazing Italian. I'm not able to I'm not able to remember the name now. I will, but for me, London is all about steaks.
I heard Chinese takeout is very nice in London.
Chinese takeout is good. In fact, this I have to say. So in fact, like one of the best. So I went to a restaurant which is a very small restaurant in East London, Dalston area called Mr. Momo.
Okay.
Sounds like a Chinese name,
But I had the most amazing desi dim sum and noodle and the Hakka noodle, like the noodle. So what happens is like especially when I travel a lot. I travel a lot. यार वो हम at least देसी I am a देसी at heart. यार वो 4-5 दिन बाद ना.
Sir,
But वो
I cannot agree with you.
वो चाहिए वो craving
Sir,
तलब होती है.
10th दिन 10th day of any trip.
10 day में बहुत आगे पहुंच गए.
10th day पे it becomes unbearable.
like चाय कहाँ मिल रहा है?
So there is a trip, the Italy trip which I spoke about. We came back, we didn't go home. We directly stopped at Umesh Dosa.
Yeah.
We had masala dosa and then we went home.
Again, Sheshadripuram wala.
Just go to the environment to get the body chutney, that's all.
Yeah, but then it doesn't feel like the Sheshadripuram one. Like that's the OG.
But tell me one thing in which I think in Europe is amazing is desserts.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like you got like
yeah.
Leto is.
Leto, the milk cake.
It's become
and
OG.
the tiramisu, if you enjoy it.
Yeah,
Man,
it's
So
like,
what is there so much of things people talk about the Borough Market, right?
Borough Market.
Talk a little bit about that. Like I want
So
to
there
hear,
are two
like,
markets in my mind which are amazing. So actually there are 3 markets in London which, depending on your vibe and your scene, I think you should not miss. Camden Market is the OG. Yeah. You have Borough and you have Spitalfields.
Okay.
So these 3 markets are amazing, and I think the vibe itself is all about food and some of the let's say strawberries and chocolate.
Chocolate.
that you get in a cup. Like
That's not overrated.
if you go to,
I think it's a vibe. I think
here's
it's a vibe.
the thing. If you're trying to enter from the London Bridge side, when you're getting into Borough Market,
Borough Market,
right?
yeah.
One of the first outlets that you will see.
It's very
masala dosa.
Masala,
It blows your mind. But the other thing, you know what I really like? So there's it's a slightly on the expensive side, but there's a very, very cool restaurant called Roast. Which is right at Borough Market on the first floor. It serves the most amazing Wellington I've ever had.
Yeah.
I've had some amazing Wellingtons in my life, but I think like the hands down the best Wellington. and they serve it only at lunchtime, 12 p.m. onwards.
See, it depends, right? Again, when you talk about, like, let's say
Yeah.
that. So I think today also, if you want to have, so one should, and if it's expensive experience, Mandarin Oriental Heston Blumenthal.
Oh, I mean, see,
Yeah.
that's another league. Can't talk about.
Yeah, but the point is, na, wo, हमें normal name is like you won't get that anywhere.
Yeah, agreed.
So their per
Priceless.
person, I think their set menu starts at 170, it goes up to 270 pounds per person. But that's an experience. Like that's a but experience.
लंदन से निकलने के पहले एक और, I don't know if you've heard of this very underrated place called Balabaya. So Balabaya बैंक साइड में, which is Satar के आसपास, you can just walk from the Satar station. Very underrated, weird location पे, but they have stunning Iranian menu. It's part of Michelin stars gourmet Bib Gourmand, which is like
आपका
wild menu. Like imagine prawn baklava. Now baklava is Middle Eastern dessert. But this guy has taken pistachio and prawns and taken it to another level.
But I've seen some people, and again, I don't know if it's normal. There are some purists who hate this. They're like purists. They're like non-experimental.
वो आपके जैसे है ना, you will never eat at Rameshwaram.
नहीं, that's not. Rameshwaram is different. Let's not make that.
So I'm just saying, like,
By
if
the way,
you
because you
enjoy,
started that, I'm going to talk about it. Vidyarthi Bhavan is still not the best dosa in town, but if the new age, in the new age South Indian food, if you really want to try simple, good South Indian food, try Taza Tindi. They are among the best. I would say they are still not very old school, right? I mean, they're very new.
It'll be like 7-8 years now. So
You go to morning for a breakfast in Taza Tindi, you cannot.
I like Taza Tindi a lot. Like
Their hygiene levels and their food levels and their quantity levels, everything, and the price is perfect.
Oh, is it? Okay.
You should try it. Like, just want to leave that. Sorry.
Let's get into a dosa section. Dhiman. 5 best dosa spots in Bangalore.
I was speaking to someone and they said that the best dosa they had after a 4-day trip in Bangalore was the 080 lounge at the Bangalore airport.
0 dosa is actually very nice. I will
so
actually.
Ankit, disagree there. You will get a way better dosa at the Air India Lounge.
Oh, okay.
In T2.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They have a good benne dosa. I mean, it's not the OG, but you will not be disappointed because airport dosas are normally horrible.
Normally,
But the Air India Lounge, one, it's a la carte. 2, they will bring it to your table. And this is one of those places who will ensure that it's served hot and crispy. When
No, but I'll tell you my point of view on dosa, which he asked, right? I feel it's
Dosa, sir.
Dose, masala dose. And I'm going to say that it's exactly like the same thing we spoke about Mumbai Vada Pav, right? It's very hard to say which is the best. You have to go to local places
places to try.
right? Somebody's chutney is brilliant. Somebody's sambar is brilliant. Somebody's that inside that chutney that they use, the red color chutney that they use is good. The crisp. What I hate and why I don't like Rameshwaram Cafe, I'll tell you. Because the taste of the ghee is so overpowering.
Yeah.
They just overdo it. That's the only reason I don't like it.
It's like, I'm sorry for offending all the Gujus out there, but I've heard this about Gujus.
I am on the firing line today.
Let's call this a wrap on a very special episode called The $1 Billion Meal with Ankit. It's been an amazing ride from founding Dine Out in your early days to crafting one of Indian credit cards and hospitality most exciting partnerships ever, where all 3 of us sitting here have benefited leaps and bounds with HDFC and Infinia. Thank you for doing that with Dine Out. Your journey, just by interacting with you over the last couple of hours, I feel is like one part hustle. It's been high-flying perks. It's all about living the good life by making the most of points and miles. I think it's an absolute masterclass for all of our listeners.
No, thanks you. Yeah, go on.
Please.
No. Obviously, thank you guys for having me over. I think one thing that I've learned in my journey, and now being just touched for 40 years, that life is short. I think
Eat dessert first. Sorry.
eat dessert first, yeah, for breakfast. But that's what a lot of Indians do as well. But having honestly said that, I think we have to figure out, we have to maximize, we have to make the most of it, right? Yeah. And especially, I think the last few years have made all of us realize. And after personally for me, I've lost some great friends over the last couple of years just to, heart attacks and stuff like that. And I think the one thing is that we don't honestly live enough. We always, and this is the Indian mindset that we have, right? And this is what I learned from my time in London and with my friends over there. They live for the moment, we live for the future. I think that is something that we need to sort of start changing in our mindsets over here. And honestly, I think credit cards and rewards and points is a great way to do that. Where you can start the journey today. There's no point saving and hoarding. You gotta live today, right? Because you never know what's gonna happen tomorrow. And I think that's the one key takeaway that I would have for everyone. It's not that difficult once you know how to do it. There is honestly plenty of platforms, and what you guys are doing is an amazing job of bringing awareness. I think it's easier if you want to do it, or if you want to live amazing and not pay the full price for it. It's easier to do it today than what it was 5 years back. So I think we owe it to ourselves to live life to the fullest. And thank you guys for having me.
I want to just end with the last trivia about Ankit, and I don't know if he remembers it. The first time I met him in the office, right? And trust me, if I did not know, and if he was not introduced as a founder of Dine Out, there is no way I would have figured it out. Whatever he just said about living life, day-to-day conversation, like you see a lot of founders who are very uptight and suit, boot.
You'll never know that with Ankit, right? I mean, he'll pass away right next to you and not know that he is somebody who's built India's greatest dining out platform, right? So thank you so much, Ankit, for doing it, agreeing to everything that we asked you to, spend 2-3 hours with us, helping us find the venue and having this beautiful conversation with us. Yeah, thank you so much.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you for having me.
We recorded this at the amazing Mirage at Bangalore, a swanky spot that totally matched the vibe. If you're in Bangalore, do check it out and come here, spend a weekend or two. We're sure you'll enjoy it. I had a blast hosting this alongside with Ameya and Dhiman, the kind of dining table conversation that goes well beyond the food. If you like what you've heard, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who always picks the restaurant, not necessarily the tab. With that, see you soon.
Lights flashing bright, we're on the go. Tune in now, there's so much to know. Earning bits, travel dreams we sow, all aboard the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. 0 to hero in the blink of an eye. Fly first class, no need to be shy. Redemption sweet, touching the sky. Award seats booked, let's give it a try. Award seats booked, let the points flow. It's all aboard the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. Unlocking journeys wherever you go. The sky's the limit, feel the travel mojo. Hidden treasures in every flight. Nights in places that feel so right. From deserts to the city lights. Get set, steal those dazzling sights. Miles stack up each passing day. Rewards come back in a million ways. In this game you want to play the Great Indian Adventure, yay! Award seats booked, let the points flow. It's all aboard the Great Indian Points and Miles Show. Unlocking journeys wherever you go. The sky's the limit, feel the travel mojo.